Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out tonight. Welcome to the Theater of Public Policy. This is a very special project that we've created to bring together improvisational humor and big ideas about public policy issues. So what's going to happen tonight is we're going to have a lovely conversation with an expert guest, and then a team of the Twin Cities' best improvisers will come out and they'll take all those big ideas and they'll dissect them and unpack them and represent them in really interesting, creative ways. And then we're going to come back to you guys to ask some questions of our expert guests, and then we'll do one last round of improv. So before we go any further, if you guys will help me welcome out the cast of the Theater of Public Policy. Everyone, please put your hands together for our guests. All right, now tonight we're going to be talking about the economy and about what the role of the government can or should be in the economy. I'm extremely excited for our guest tonight. I am a personal fan. Anybody who listens to public radio is probably a fan of and has probably heard this man on the air before. You might have also seen his column that he writes in the Star Tribune, or picked up one of his books. His most recent book, The New Frugality, was a very fun anti-consumerist manifesto, which I had never heard that term before, anti-consumerist. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our guest, Chris Farrell. Thank you. Please have a seat. Now, the first part of the show is everyone got a clicker, and what we have is a question for this evening. So we're going to ask you this question now, and we're going to ask you again at the end of the show, and see if anybody's opinions or ideas are challenged or changed in any way. So if we can, all right, so our question for tonight is, how much should the government be involved in the economy? Number 1 is more than now, 2 is the same, and 3 is less than now. And we will vote now. 35 people have voted. 36. 37. All right, let's see what the audience is thinking. Holy moly. 61% of people think that the government should be involved more than now. 26% same. And 13% less than now. So that will help inform part of our discussion. So, Chris, I was really interested to talk to you tonight about this question about how much, if at all, the government should be involved. Because I think that there's a lot of people who have been talking recently about, well, this Great Recession is very much like the Great Depression. And that was a time when we were able to, through a lot of government action and the New Deal and ultimately a world war, really turn the economy around. And people think either that definitely hasn't happened yet, and either it's because we haven't done enough or we have done too much, and I
don't think we've done too much. I'm in the camp that would argue that what the government has done so far has prevented us from going into a Great Depression. It has prevented a genuine collapse. So what we have is this sluggish recovery. Is it really a recovery? I mean, technically, the recession ended in June 2009.
Woo!
Now, exactly. Does anybody really think it ended? I mean, the unemployment rate is 9.1%. Tomorrow we're going to get the employment numbers, and the expectation is the unemployment rate is going to be 9.1%. And there might be 95,000 jobs created. But remember, there are 26.8 million Americans that are unemployed, that are working part-time but want to be working full-time or marginally attached to the workforce.
So you are one of the folks then who thinks that we could have done more with the original stimulus, or that we should do more now?
Well, I think we must be doing more now. And what I think we've reached this point where we kind of know what we need to do. And if you move away from the ideologies, you move away from the think tanks that will scream and yell. You talk to sort of mainstream economists, so I'll agree. Look, what you need to do right now is increase your infrastructure spending and to actually increase your deficit right now. Now, at the same time, you put in a plan that says, in 2-3 years, here's how we're going to bring the deficit down. A real plan, not a fake one, but a real one. But at this particular point in time, that there needs to be greater stimulus in this economy as we're teetering on the edge. Look, monetary policy, the Federal Reserve, They've done a lot. But that's the only game in town. And we have Europe. Europe may implode. It could go away for a little while. So, therefore, you want to have some action on the fiscal side. We're not getting it.
So Europe might go away, and
I guess I should say the euro will go away.
the euro. Well, so basically, I think what you're saying is that Greece is a black hole that is sucking the entire continent into it, and will eventually, all turn into an ocean.
No, Greece is going to default. Period. It's just going to default on its debt. The only question is it a controlled default? Some sort of negotiated deal, which they had last week, so the banks take a 50% write down on their debt, or is it an uncontrolled default, which they just say, you know what, forget about it.
It's interesting because this past week everyone has been sort of freaking out because the Prime Minister of Greece says, well, the people should vote on whether or not we should take on this package, and we should have a referendum on these austerity measures before we agree to them.
Right.
And the markets were not happy with that, and a lot of world leaders said, duh, don't you dare give it to the people to make that decision.
You had a lot of very furrowed brows and very deep voices that were saying, democracy is a wonderful thing, but not now. This is just not the moment to be going this way. And he retreated, moved away. It was pretty clear that it's going to happen. I mean, look, Greece is a real problem. You can't have, just to give one example how deep the problems in Greece go, you have a railroad system, a national railroad system, right, that has a payroll 4 times the revenue of the railroad system.
You're suggesting we all become train conductors.
In Greece.
In Greece.
In Greece, yes.
Well, but this tension seems so interesting because it does seem like both here and with the stimulus, there were these things where people said, listen, I know that this is unpopular, but we have to do it. And you know what, everybody, just sit tight and it's going to be okay. I mean, is that sustainable to keep saying that as a long-term thing?
Look, bailouts stink. Bailouts are terrible. And the bailout has continued for a long period of time, and it's going to continue, this sort of government action, this need. And people are exhausted. And by the way, when you bail out the banking system, which is really what we're talking about, you bail out the people who helped create the very problem that you're talking about. It's really bad. The only problem is, if you don't do some of these actions, it's actually worse. So you're looking at a really bad situation and a really, really bad situation. And which one do you want to risk?
All of our shows are so upbeat.
I know. I just started trying.
So let's go back to. I think that there's several of these preventative things, but what are some of the things that the government could be doing right now that actually would spur the economy? You mentioned infrastructure spending. Is that literally like, let's build a new bridge to somewhere? Nowhere.
Well, you don't want to build a bridge to nowhere, but if you look at the United States has not been investing much in its infrastructure really for the past 25, 30 years. And there's been a lot of complaints about infrastructure spending. It goes to, there's a lot of corruption going on, and it's a favor for here, and it's a bridge to nowhere that no one's really going to drive on. But over time, our infrastructure has really crumbled. And it's not just, you and I driving or bicycling and doing our commuting, but it's the trucks, it's the airports, it's the ports. And so the advantage of doing infrastructure spending is that there's a real payoff. I mean, if you improve your infrastructure, if goods and services move faster, if people can get to work easier, there's just a real economic payoff. And you also get a lot of people to work who are unemployed, because where was the real hit? Construction. I mean, that's where a lot of people lost jobs. Manufacturing. People lost their jobs in manufacturing. So you would provide a hit to the economy, a good hit to the economy, but the payoff is over the next 5, 10, 15 years. And by the way, when do you want to do construction? When interest rates are high and labor's expensive, or when interest rates are low as they are right now, and labor's not that expensive? Now's the time to be doing it. So I think that's where the consensus is. You're going to borrow in order to try and boost this economy, go for infrastructure.
Okay.
So now, next problem.
So I think that the other piece of this that a lot of people, especially recently, have been really hung up on is there is this huge disparity where it does seem like there's more than ever these haves and have-nots.
There are.
And I hear people say this is just sort of like you're just throwing me a bone to say that I'm going to have a job for the next 6 months or whatnot with a jobs bill to build another bridge or to do this or that. That doesn't seem to actually fix any long systemic problem.
Well, it doesn't fix any long systemic problem, except for to be employed is much better than to be unemployed. And it's much better to be getting a paycheck than it is to be on unemployment insurance. So I think, and also as people become more employed and some of these jobs won't be sustainable, but remember, corporations have enormous amounts of cash on the balance sheet, record amounts of cash on the balance sheet. Why are they holding back? It's not because of regulatory uncertainty. It's not because of the healthcare bill. The reason why they're holding back is people aren't buying things. Right? People aren't out there because people are nervous. They're hoarding their money. They're saving their money. We're all trying to save more and borrow less and pay down our debts. So if you start getting the juices of the economy going, then what happens? Corporations are going to start hiring. And they'll probably hire initially people they really want, college graduates, and then they'll work their way down. But again, it's a better situation. The longer term issues are absolutely fundamental. Inequality, inclusion, these matter more than ever right now, this period of time. However, I'd like to see people back to work first.
I'm curious what you, because the free trade deals, the 3 free trade deals that we passed with Korea, help me out, Korea, Colombia, and we'll just say Ecuador, sure.
Okay.
And
it's just as good as anybody else.
And the idea is that will open up all this trade, but I mean, it seems like one of these issues where people feel like either free trade is something that is going to save the economy or it's going to absolutely decimate what's left of our regular working class.
Okay, so here's the problem with free trade. So we just did an agreement with Colombia. It's taken us several years to get there. And the Chinese have moved in. They've already done a lot of the free trade agreements with Colombia. So we're kind of like late to the party. But here's the thing about free trade. The whole discussion about free trade has been won. All right. I mean, the economists truly have won. They do have a genuine insight that a more open world economy, more open borders, information flowing around the world, that these are basically good things, and it adds to our standard of living. And for some of you who are older, just try and remember what it was like going down a grocery store aisle in Minneapolis 25, 30 years ago versus going down a grocery store aisle today. I mean, it's a tiny thing, but we are much more exposed to the global economy. The problem is, what economists have always done is they'll defend free trade, and they got this little paragraph at the end. And it says, of course, there are losers, and we should do something for them. But they never deal with that. So the thing is, they won the debate about free trade. The question is, what do you do to help the people who lose their job because of advanced information technologies, because of international competition from China, because a European company moves in and has a better mousetrap? These are things that we want, but you want then the workers who are losing their jobs or getting a cut in their pay, which is about a third. When you lose your job, typically when you get a new job, you take about a third cut in your pay. So you want to, that's what the focus now is. That's the real challenge in our economy. Our economy for the next 20 years is going to be about jobs, jobs, and jobs. And how do we make jobs better? And how do we open up jobs to the middle class for benefits and so that people can save for their retirement and their health care?
All right, economics editor for American Public Media, how do we do it?
Well, now, I'm glad you asked this question. How long do we have?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. I mean, first of all, we do have to get the economy growing. We really do. But if you look at the way our economy, I mean, this is a terrible period of time, but there's also something going on. It's been called the Great Reset, the Great Restructuring, the Great Recalibration. People like that term "great." It just kind of got to toss that in there. It's great. Yeah. But it seems to be that we are moving toward an economy where we're going to be spending less money on houses. We're spending less money on cars. We're spending less money on things. We're going to spend a lot more on education. We're going to spend a lot more on our health care. We're going to spend more on experiences. And they're spending a lot more on spirituality. I mean, there is a shift going on here. So when you move toward that sort of economy, it opens up all kinds of opportunities for entrepreneurs. Never underestimate the ability of the American entrepreneur to pick your pocket, okay? So they won't do it on by selling you a home. It'll be improv theater. See? Now.
Everyone paid already, right?
Yeah. But what that means is people can make a living, and there's going to be the growth in the middle class of the artisans, back to crafts. But there's 2 things you can't do if that's where our world is moving toward: save for your retirement and pay for your health care unless you make it across the country. In other words, you make it so that we are all saving for our retirement together, we are all paying for our health care together, and then once you have removed those two things, then you're in a much better situation. I'll stop in just a second, but many years ago I was talking to head of human resources for a major multinational, and he turned to me and said, "Chris, guess what country we can screw the workers the least?" So I came in, he said, "Singapore." And I said, "Why Singapore?" He says, "The worker owns the healthcare plan, the worker owns the retirement plan. The only thing we can do is provide a good workplace."
That's good. I have been thinking about moving to Singapore, and becoming a train conductor in Greece. This has been our best show yet.
Give me a couple more minutes and I'll open up some more opportunities for you.
Do you have any openings in Honduras? Because I hear it's lovely.
Now, the thing in Honduras is that you can get a really nice house, and there are these benefits if you move to Honduras, because they are trying to attract expatriates.
We can talk about this after the show.
Okay.
All right. That is the end of our first interview session. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me thank Mr. Farrell.
Thank
you. Now remember, Mr. Farrell will be back in the second half of our show, and you all have an opportunity to ask him a question or two. So start thinking now about what you might be interested in picking his brain about. But for now, I'm going to turn to our improvisers, and I'm interested what you guys got out of that interview. Logan.
I was really proud of a pun that I came up with, and so. But then,
I'm going to sit down with this.
So Greece is a giant grease fire, right? Because it's burning. But in reality, I came up with do more with more. Do more with more. That's what I got.
When you mentioned that the definition of unemployment is kind of wonky, in that I have a part-time job, but that's still factored in as a job. That made me remember that the actual statistic is if you're called up and you work at least 1 hour a week where you're paid, you're considered employed. So I realized that all of us can hire a bunch of people to rake the leaves in our yard, and we can all create jobs. Think about it. $5 here, that's a job.
You're a terrible person.
I'm just really struck by the idea that we have to make things worse in the short term in order to make them better in the long term, or they seem worse in the short term in order to be better in the long term. And I think there's a lot of comedy in that.
Help. Jim.
Well, until a few minutes ago, I didn't know how excited I was to be part of the great recalibration. But I think one of the reasons why I feel so comfortable in the great recalibration is that I feel marginally attached to the workplace. I don't know if my boss knows this yet. I haven't felt anything but marginally attached for years.
And finally, Mark.
I was intrigued by Port Greece, this tiny country who makes wonderful pottery and woolen gifts for tourists.
Really?
Is at the center of this huge international fiscal intrigue. So I'm already working on my screenplay. Greece 3, my big fat austerity referendum.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's going to happen is that our fantastic improvisers are going to take it over from here, and they're going to take all the things that we heard about and turn them into fantastic long-form improvisation. Ladies and gentlemen, the Theater of Public Policy cast.
People just don't understand. I try to explain it to them. I have these solutions, but we're not going to put it to a vote because you won't like them, and then we won't get anything done. You just have to trust me. I'm very important. I have many degrees in economics. I have a master's, a PhD.
So the thing is, I put all my money under my mattress, and I expect it to grow. It grew by a quarter of an inch last week. Many coins.
I am a free trader from Ecuador, and no one knows where that is. I'm from an Irish family who moved to Ecuador. But I would like to trade the maize and the ruby-encrusted trinkets that can get us the...
So I open up the mail, and I get my 5th credit card offer. with an even lower interest rate. 14.9%. And I realized the recession is over.
It's straight cash, homie. It's straight cash. That's all we need is cash. Infuse some cash into the system, and it'll be straight up job Z. Straight cash. That's all we got. We need to plug it in. We need to turn it on. Stop building us some jobs.
So I figure if I can get a lot of nickels, 'cause they're like the thickest of all coins. So I'm trying to trade them all in.
Quito is the
So they're-
capital of Ecuador,
That-
I believe, and many llamas make their home amidst the Andes.
Wait a minute, I have a grace period of 3 days.
You just print more of it. You just keep printing it. You give it out to the people, and they'll be cool, right?
So this plan requires first party hats because we need to celebrate. We're gonna save ourselves. So put them on. Put them on.
Wait a minute, the first thing is do it. The first thing I'm gonna go ahead and get it out and set up, pass them
I
out.
would be happy to.
One more.
The first thing
I know. We're going to start working on the infrastructure of the house.
I can't believe we're finally gonna get started. We've talked about it for so long.
I know, but it's time that we did something.
Yeah, it is.
Look at it, honey. Oh, it's the garbage disposal. And it hasn't worked in 7 months.
I know.
I went to Menards and I got this. I know. It's called a washer and this is called a screw. And apparently, the major issue is that the other one fell off.
No kidding. That is amazing.
I know.
How did you learn that?
I went on the internet.
Yeah, honey.
Yeah. It's really cold in here, and I
Steven?
know it's tough times, but can we get a roof on the house?
Thank you. I have made many jobs, and I'm sure some of you have even used some of them. I'm sorry the company had to go under. It's tough times after all. But thank you for coming out.
You're letting me go?
Oh, I'm sorry, this is a victory speech for me, but it's also, well, sort of a concession speech for you, which I'm glad to speak on behalf of you.
Okay.
They treated you very well, the benefits, the management. It was a great job.
Sorry, I'm gonna need to collect your key card. Yeah. There you go. Thank you. Don't let it hurt you on the way out.
I cleared out your desk for you. So, be on your way.
Which way is the new economy?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm still kind of attached to the old economy.
I am from Ecuador. I'll show you.
I keep feeling this out and I'm not getting anywhere.
What's throwing it at me?
What am I supposed to do with it?
I don't know. There must be a better way.
We're gonna sink. I can't pick this up.
When we moved onto the houseboat, you said you knew how to take care of
Well,
a
yeah.
houseboat.
I didn't mean this. I just meant I could put curtains up and wave at the neighbors.
But why did we get this first mate, and why is he here when I'm at work?
Because I need help when you're at work with cooking and stuff.
Wait a minute.
What?
This isn't how it seems. Or it is how it seems, and I'm dense.
I'm not sure what you mean, Frank.
Foster? Tell us what you're doing here.
I'm sure she's pretty for you.
It makes me pretty for you, honey.
And I appreciate that. But we're sinking.
That's right. Oh, we should get back to it. All right, listen.
Listen, I know the first quarter wasn't that great for us, but But I've got a request into the government.
The government?
They're going to bail us out.
Are they really?
We created this problem and we're getting ourselves out of it.
Woo! That's great!
What a coup, right?
I know.
We did it all. We muck it up.
And they're going to come in and make it all better.
Exactly right.
This is like magic.
This is better than anything I learned in grad school.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy more.
Buy more.
Yeah.
It's free money.
We have the internet here, too.
We got yeah. Okay, slippers? You're buying slippers?
Why not? My feet are cold.
It's not a part of the business model. We're a financial company. Let's be at least somewhat responsible with the funding we're getting from the government.
You crack me up.
Got a delivery of cash.
Yep, right there. That'll be good.
Who signs?
Uncle Sam, right?
Uncle Sam. They're going to laugh at that.
Check his ID.
I know. God, it's like being 17 with a car.
We should go crash this stuff like a car when you're 17.
I think we've already crashed it.
Oh, pun intended.
Pun achieved. Wait a minute. They cut off our internet.
What? Did you pay the bill?
No. Of course not.
What? Let's use some of the money and pay the internet company, right? I mean, we need internet.
Yeah, but this is paper money, and I haven't paid, but I meant to pay online. So
Paper money's good,
Yeah, but
right?
the post office isn't going to be working 6 days a week now. How are we going to get it to them? Why didn't you think about this?
I told you I didn't learn any of this stuff in grad school. I don't have any idea how we can do it.
Well, I don't either. I don't know anything about business.
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, have a seat.
All right.
Yeah, listen,
Let's get started.
We asked you to come in because there's a small problem with your account. I'm sure you've noticed.
Nothing, major. This
Well-
has happened before.
Well, it's to a smaller extent, yes. You were overdrawn, a few times, as you know, by
Yeah.
$25, $35. This time it's about $300,000. We just wanted to bring you in and see if you could talk about
But-
what happened and
Well,
find some resolution.
I'm so busy during the day. Usually I just look to the, I check out the leftmost number and thought,
Sure. Yeah.
3 is only a little bit bigger than 2. It's
Yeah, lots of
things got out of
zeros.
hand.
Yeah, lots and lots of zeros
But
there.
wait a minute, I read about in the paper that people were getting, bailed out.
Sure.
Like cash deliveries and slippers just raining from the ceiling. Can I get some slippers too?
We have a different model.
Well,
You gotta pay your bill.
Yeah, we don't operate that way. We're in Greece.
Taste this soup.
just put it in.
It's pretty awful, isn't it?
It's a little strong.
I
A lot
know.
of oregano in there?
There's a ton of oregano, but I was reading this recipe and it says it has to get worse before it gets better. I know.
How much worse could it get than this? This is hardly stomachable.
Oh, it's hardly stomachable, but it has to be apparently toxic before it gets better.
Guys, how's the
Hey.
soup coming?
It's pretty bad.
It's getting worse.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad to hear.
I think it's weird we keep the anchovy paste in the cabinet. But
Are you sure it's supposed to get?
that's what it says.
Guys,
You spend more?
everybody's outside. They're hungry for the soup. We need to feed it to them right away.
It's not ready.
The masses are asking for it.
I'm tired of feeding the masses. It's hard enough just feeding you.
What is that supposed to mean? I've been trying to slow you down.
I am not criticizing you. Why
Always
it's always about
blaming
you.
Guys! They're hungry. We have to feed them something. They may not like it, but they'll eat it.
It's fine. Get the dishes, please. And don't use the nice ones. I think it's weird we have to feed the masses 2 bowls at a time. It's going to take forever.
I do too, Mr. Geithner, but they're hungry. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks.
There's that. It's getting better, right? It's getting better.
It tastes
The
good.
soup is
Awful!
It's
Come on!
restructuring.
We're occupying Campbell's.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys very much. Please help me in welcoming back our guest, Mr. Chris Farrell. Got it. There we go. All right. So we're gonna in just a moment turn to everyone and ask you guys to ask Mr. Farrell a question. But before we do, what we like to do is, if you want to practice your question, what we do right now is, if you want to turn to the person next to you and ask them a question that you are planning to ask in a moment of our expert guest. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna actually take the first question.
Okay.
There was a lot in that first set about bailouts, but not a lot about where we're going next. What's the future other than Ecuador? Other than Ecuador is the future. But I mean, other than that, we talked a little bit about this in the first set, but where do you actually see the growth? Where are the jobs that are going to? Is it the green economy? Is it the healthcare industry? Is it?
So if you look at where we are right now, and you sort of look over the next 2 years, which is about probably as far out as you can look, it's a pretty grim picture. Your households are still going to be paying down debt. We have a political system that is paralyzed, so we're not going to get a whole lot of action on the fiscal side. Monetary policy, the Federal Reserve will do what it can do, but it's not going to be a whole lot. So you're going to slowly pay down debt. You're going to have slow increase in jobs, because jobs are increasing slowly, but just not anywhere near the pace that we want. And that's pretty much the scenario you've got for at least the next year or two.
And I mean, if there are people in the audience who are planning a major career shift, where should they roll the dice?
Where you should roll the dice is what you really want to be doing. Because listen, you know, the thing about it is, there's not a whole lot of, I know you're doing exactly what you want to be doing.
I'm telling you, you don't make any money doing what you want to do.
You don't make any money. However, you know, the social compact is really broken down. There's not a whole lot of corporate loyalty left. So I think that, you know, and pay has not gone up for 30 years. And if you look at wages, and it's very hard to come up with a scenario that wages are going to come up anytime soon. I can come up with a scenario where the job market comes back. Then Great American Job Machine sort of grinds away and it comes back, and then we'll get a surprise and people start hiring. But it's really hard to come up with a scenario that someone's going to be in an environment where you walk into the boss's office and you say, give me a 10% raise or I'm leaving. And what she'll say after she picks herself up off the floor laughing is goodbye. And this is the scenario that we're in. So therefore, you're not going to get big pay increases. Job market's going to come back slowly. I say you at least might as well be doing what you like to do.
That'll be cool comfort for.
Yeah, it's cold comfort.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. I'm hungry. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question that you would like to ask Chris Farrell, please raise your hand right here in the front.
So what you said sounded really believable to me, very rational about we need to put money in the infrastructure, and it sounds like Main Street economists buy into it. So why are we gridlocked? What's the resistance? What's the counter? Why won't anyone believe that?
Well, the only counter you can come up with is that we have a group that really believes that no matter what you're not going to do is increase taxes and increase the debt. And therefore, if you talk about increasing infrastructure spending, you are going to borrow more. There's just no other way to do it. And in fact, that's what you want to be doing, is borrowing now, getting the money in the system, you pay it back later on. And I think there's a legitimate complaint that when we say pay back later on, it can't be, hey, we'll pay it back later on. It has to be, here's how we're going to do it over a period of time. So it's really, it just comes down to right now that the Republicans do not want to take any action that raises taxes or increases the deficit. And so you've had numerous proposals. And this is a real change. When Obama made his last year, so he made a pretty large infrastructure spending bill. The day that it came out, the AFL-CIO and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, two groups that don't normally, they're not exactly very friendly, came out with a joint press release saying this is the way to go. And if you wander around the country, and it doesn't matter if you're liberal or conservative, most people will agree with this because most people can take a look at our infrastructure and say, this isn't good. And it's a convincing case. And then you can be an economist and you can look at studies that show that the payoff from investing in infrastructure versus the payoff, say, investing in defense is pretty big. So what we have is the system has become so dysfunctional that we're not moving forward.
Do you think, just as a follow-up to that, I do hear that piece of it, that we have to pay down the deficit, but then there's also this line, well, if we were to just cut taxes on the corporations,
right,
and we were to simplify the tax code, then they would be free. They would be free to go and create the jobs that their hands are tied right now. I mean, it's really sad.
Right, and well, what you did was something very clever. However, you said cutting taxes and simplify. Those are two different things. If you look at all the serious budget proposals about how do we deal with this debt and deficit over a long period of time, Simpson, Bowles, Domenici, Rivlin, there's been a number of them. They all have simplifying the tax code as the core. So it's as much as possible, you get rid of credits and deductions. And then you can argue, okay, so how low can you bring down the rates and how many rates do you want to have? You want to have one, you want to have two, you want three, you want four, whatever you want. I mean, I'm in the camp that believes Bill Gates should pay at a higher rate than I pay. Bill Gates actually agrees with me. He says, yes, I should pay at a higher rate. But you get rid of all of that, you simplify things. And that, I think, is something that could make people's lives better. It would be a real improvement. We'll see if it happens.
All right, another question in the back, yeah.
First of all, I'm really happy that we can hear sort of a mainstream view of economics from an expert. I think that a lot of times it seems like it's sorely lacking, that I'm hearing economists that, especially on the radio, that are, this will be a question in one moment.
He's on the radio.
And I am a fan, but it seems like a lot of times we're getting like experts that are partisan and are arguing for a point. So is the system so broken that it's really, is it really starting to be a detriment? Because what I see, from my armchair is that we have the Fed, which is just doing all that it can, away from all this crossfire. And then their toolbox apparently ran out years ago, and they're just sort of inventing new tools and throwing them into the fray. Are we going to be able to turn things around with the way the political system is?
I think we will, but it's going to take a lot longer than it should. And the human price is unacceptably high. There was Ben Bernanke, chairman of the Federal Reserve, gave a talk recently, and what he said is what he's concerned about, what everyone's concerned about, is that there's a major scar is going to come out of this recession. And that's not really been the case of a lot of the recessions, but the really bad ones like this that drag on for a long period of time, that the major scar is there's going to be a generation or a group of workers who are so disengaged from the workforce that they're not going to be able to get back in. So about 50%, it's a little under 50% of the unemployed are what we call the long-term unemployed, 26 or longer. And the sad thing is there's nothing you can do about it. It is just reality. The longer you're unemployed, the more prospective employers look at you as damaged goods. So then your prospects continue to go down. And this is why Bernanke, and this is why a lot of mainstream economists, it's really easy, and in academia and among economists, you like to focus on the 10% that you disagree on, right? Because that's where the excitement is, and that's where the debate is. But I think if you look at liberal, mainstream, conservative economists, not at the ideological think tanks. If you look at them, they basically agree with about 80%. And nothing that I've said in terms of increasing infrastructure spending or having the need for a stimulus program or that there needs to be more that is done on the fiscal side. Nothing that I'm saying is controversial. It's only controversial in the context of that we have a society that at this point in time is rewarding the extremes. And it redefines what you mean by the silent majority.
Okay, I think we have time for one more. Ooh, that was a fast hand in the back there.
In the Eurozone, do you think that China's money, I've read a little bit about them wanting to maybe put some money into like Ireland or Spain or these faltering economies. Do you think that a good case can be made for them stepping in?
Well, they are. China is stepping into Europe. There have been negotiations going on. It makes a lot of sense from their point of view. China is an emerging economic power. It's driving tough terms. And so it's not just saying, we're opening up the treasury here because they got their own problems, but they are seeing this as an opportunity to spread their influence and use some of their wealth at this point in time. Frankly, I think it's a wonderful thing.
I think as a follow-up to that, approximately how long is it until we have to worship our Chinese overlords? Like,
well, see, I want to be really upbeat here, right? And I think, and China is a true emerging power. There's no question about that. However, if you really want to be scared about the global economy, and I know you really do. If you really want to be scared of the global economy, the question is, at what point does China really run into a wall? Because it's had an enormous boom. It's had a lot of investment spending. It has a lot of problems in its banking system. It has a lot of state-run enterprises. And what we basically know is that while China is an emerging economy, while China will be one of the dominant powers of the 21st century, it's going to have a big stumble along the way. And that stumble is there's been a lot of wasted investment. And as you recognize that wasted investment, China will stumble.
I'm pretty sure that it'll be just like the housing market and continue to grow forever, so we're fine.
You just buy gold and then that's it. It's just going to go
we'll be selling gold on the way out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please help me thank our guests one more time. All right, so we have time for one more round with our improvisers. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to waste any time. The T2P2 cast.
Listen, sweetheart, your dad and I just want you to be happy, really. It's, we just want you to get a job that you want to have.
Exactly. You put in a lot of years at the factory, and that was great. You've learned new skills that are applicable on any assembly line.
And made pretty much no money at it.
But now you've been living with us unemployed for 2 years now.
Yeah.
And, it's time to do what you want to do.
Really, yeah. Pursue your dreams.
What we're saying is we'd like you to go now.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of being part of the silent majority. God, I go to the drive-thru and they never understand. It's terrible. And they don't.
Man, I think the economy's great, right? Isn't this awesome? It's so quiet out here. Hey, what's up, guys? No problem. Don't worry. I'll just hang out over here. Yeah, good. Okay, good. Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, thanks. Hey, have a good day, okay? Okay. May the force be with you.
Digging a hole to China.
Johnny, we've talked to you about this before. You can't get there. There's a molten ball in the middle of the earth. Remember what happened last time?
Let's see what happens when they get to that molten ball.
What did I tell you? I hope that burns. No, you keep it down there. Yep. Count to 5.
Let's see the kid in therapy when he's older. Now, I know that you're saying he put your hand on the molten core of the earth, but that has to be a metaphor.
You say the right things, Johnny. Say the right thing.
Oh, you're part of the silent majority. I've treated a lot of you. It takes a long time. Wow. It's hard to say what you really feel, isn't it? And economics can be so confusing.
I have faith in our leaders, whoever they are.
That's a mistake.
I want a 10% raise or I'm leaving.
See you later. You're free to go.
No, wait.
Deb?
No, wait.
Yeah, send in some of the candidates.
No, wait. 9%.
Yeah,
No, okay, wait.
they're fresh still, right?
Stop, no. Come on, seriously. Dude, I got bills.
Look at this guy.
No.
$3.50 an hour, please.
What? No.
Just enough for noodles.
I'll do it for $3.45.
I'm doing what I love. Are you?
Yes, I love making paper.
I love it more. I'll never leave. I'll work 24 hours a day.
Oh, and who works 24 hours a day?
I do. I'm the new worker.
I'll pay you to work here.
Welcome to the new economy.
It's pretty nice. Well, thanks for bringing me. Looks kind of like the old economy in a lot of ways, though.
No, you haven't engaged the holographic images.
Well, I press this button?
There you go, see?
Buenos tardes.
I read about that in the paper. That's like Ecuador.
The global south represents the new economy, unlimited growth potentials for you and your customers.
Sí, adiós. Yo tengo que comer. Push.
Well, I want to see more of this new economy. That was amazing. Press
Push
this
another
one.
button.
Ding.
Choo-choo! I'm a train conductor. I make lots of money.
I love trains. This is incredible.
Infrastructure spending will boost the economy in all parts of the world and connect people like never before.
Well, let's see what's next. Bing. Bing.
I'm the country of China, and I'm throwing my money all across the globe. I dare you to fight me.
Well, every power needs a superpower.
I'm the superest of them all. Look at my cape. It says C for China.
This is amazing. And I can have this new economy? Where is it?
Walmart.
It exists.
Listen, I just don't understand. I put my money under the mattress, and they said it would grow.
Well, there was a problem. There's been a bed bug infestation. And as your landlord, I had to throw the mattress out and the box springs, and I didn't separate them before I tossed it out the window into the bin downstairs.
Oh my God, that was my life savings. That was like $23.
I know, unfortunately, we haven't been really keeping up with our rubbish removal, and so it might still be down there.
Hey, this mattress is great.
Yeah, check it out. It's full of money.
Wow.
Sorry.
Oh God, what am I gonna do? That was what I was gonna pay the rent with next month. I'm disenfranchised from my job, or disengaged from it, something like that.
It sounds like you know a lot of words. Maybe you should come and be a librarian.
A librarian?
No, a librarian. Yes.
Okay,
Do you love books?
I can.
Well, it doesn't matter anymore because they're all going to be digital, but do you like words?
I do like words.
Then go and pursue your dream.
Even if I won't make any money doing it?
That's true, and you can't live here anymore either.
All right, we got a bridge down in Arkansas, and we got a heaved road in Kentucky. I think we fix them all. We
Fix
gotta
them
fix
all! Fix them all! Issue debt! Sell bonds! Let someone else pay for it!
Sir, I really wish you'd be less condescending and giving me directions.
No, I'm the government and I'm here to help.
What?
Sell, sell, sell! I've got bonds and you want to buy some more.
Well, I work for the government. How am I supposed to buy government bonds?
Tom, get out here. He needs to fix a bridge.
Oh.
Build him a bridge to get to the broken one.
Certainly. I have this new shovel that lights up when you get too close to the molten core.
This doesn't seem as efficient as it could be.
Oh, it's efficient. The government's always right.
What if, and I'm just gonna throw it out there, what if we hired more than one guy to build a new bridge?
Oh, that's absurd. You're crazy.
Call me crazy, or call me a job creator.
Oh, I'm worried about economies of scale. You keep working.
How long can we wait for the new bridge?
As soon as I dig the tunnel or the ditch that we're gonna put the bridge over.
This guy doesn't even know bridge terms. He's probably disenfranchised from his bridge job.
I'm not a librarian.
Unbelievable!
He's working and that's what matters.
It's true.
Wait a minute.
You struck molten.
I have.
How are you putting your hand in the molten?
Because I have health insurance, I don't care.
You employed people are the worst.
Look at that. It flew up into a cloud and became solidified, and now it's going to rain upon us.
It's looking for a subsidy.
Well, do something about it. You're the government. We can't have this melting down on us.
Oh, we can, and we will.
Is this safe?
Safe enough.
Oh, honey.
I know.
It looks great.
You like it?
I do.
Yeah.
Let's put some carrots or something in it.
Okay.
All right. Here's an old carrot top.
Okay.
Should I turn it on?
Go ahead.
Fingers aren't anywhere near
Right
it.
here.
Okay.
God, it's beautiful sound.
It is.
You'd never know that it's shredding and pulverizing.
You never know.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it off.
Okay. Oh, hey, it's nice that we have to do.
What happened to all that? Is this the new job? You're finally doing what you want to do?
Yeah, son, I'm taking care of the house.
It's working on the infrastructure at home.
Yeah.
Gotta start it local.
That's
That's what I
right.
always say.
Why did we send you to college? You're so condescending.
Don't talk to me that way. Don't take that tone of voice. I don't like it.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh. Wow.
Things are flipped upside down.
Things are changing.
I know. I think we need to recalibrate this family. And by recalibrate, I mean have you move out. That's right. While I was putting in the garbage disposal, I cut off all electricity to your wing. You'll be living in darkness. Oh, don't enable him. We talked about this. Be tough.
I know.
You've made your mother upset. Oh, that's all you have to say.
I'm gonna go out. And I'm gonna become a train conductor.
What? Did you say train conductor?
That's right. I'm going to go to Greece, buy some handicrafts, become a train conductor.
He's smarter than we thought.
I'm going to bring down all of Europe with me. Germany, oh, they're gonna crash. Ireland, yeah, as soon as China buys them, they're gonna crash too.
Bring me some woolen goods, would you?
I will,
Thanks.
but none for you.
Wow, you're like the bad seed.
Watch me grow.
Well, now we don't have to watch those stupid reality programs on TV
Yeah, I
anymore.
guess not.
Yeah.
Just you and me, honey.
Yeah. It's turned on by itself. Oh, I might learn to like the new economy.
I think I will too.
It's great. Put a light bulb in there. I've always wondered what would happen. Oh, damn it. It's broken.
protest.
You're just gonna protest all day.
I'm not.
You're just gonna
I'm not
protest
gonna
all
take
day.
it. I'm not taking it.
Why don't you get a job? Why don't all you get a job, okay? You sit at home, you draw your little signs. Why don't you work on some resumes, some cover letters, some applications? There's tons of places for you to work.
You realize the system you're supporting?
I am the system, and it supports me, so I support it. Your sign doesn't even have any words on it.
But I'm not a librarian. Leave me alone.
I don't understand what that means anymore. You kids, you new kids, you 99% are ridiculous. You should try this sign of the 1%. Pretty nice. Hey, little girl, you want to come over to 1%?
Don't do it. Don't,
Drop that
Sally.
sign.
Don't you put it, Sally. Don't you.
We're about to become the 2%. Come on. You just got warmer. You feel that?
I do.
Just your legs are tingling a
Yeah.
little. You kind of want to fall over. Sleep. Anybody else? Yeah.
Hey,
Huh?
Jim, get over it.
Hey, welcome to sleep.
Jim,
And
wait.
awake. And we're all going to China. Okay. And we're going to work. Yay. And we don't like money, do we? We don't like wage.
What do we need that
Wage is for sage. And we don't cook with sage.
Does everything rhyme in China?
Because we work for a dime.
Oh.
Clever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little lever, pull it. Okay, I'm gonna stop the rhyme, but it'll be rhyming when we get over there, okay? All right, let's start walking.
Okay.
Doom, 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 doom. Get the chime.
Isn't there an ocean or something we have to worry about?
You're hypnotized.
Oh, I get okay.
Nice. Very nice.
Welcome to the new Pan-Asian economy.
It was worth the wait.
Please choose to engage the holographic images.
There's nothing there.
It exists all in your mind, just
Oh.
like the recovery.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you had a good time. We are going to take back out our clickers and take back out our poll for the evening. Yeah, awesome. All right. So, if you'll remember, everyone, our question is: how much should the economy be involved, or how much should the economy be involved in the government? How much should the government be involved in the economy? And last time, you'll remember, we voted very heavily for more than now. Let's see how people vote after seeing tonight's show. We're voting now. Oh. I think we have one fewer vote. One person totally gave up. All right. All right, let's see what the outcome is. Oh my gosh. Ooh. All right. So, eat it, libertarians. All right. I don't know. That's scientific, so I can't really. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, please let me thank one more time our guest for this evening, Chris Farrell. He was fantastic. Did you guys have a good time? Did you guys have yeah, good. Give yourselves a round of applause. You are a great audience. Thank you very much. And I want to especially thank, we have several organizations that have been helping us put this together, both In Commons and the Citizens League, as well as Huge Theater. They've all been very great supporters. Please, let's give them just a quick round of applause. They are really great. And speaking of In Commons, if you felt like you got anything out of tonight's conversation, or you have an idea or a thought that you didn't get a chance to say, we encourage you to go to our website, because we have a discussion that happens every weekend after the show. It's up right now, and you can go and leave a comment, see what other people are saying about what they saw tonight and what they think about the economy. It's all at our website, which is incommons.org/T2P2. Theater of Public Policy. T2P2. Okay, and And the best thing you can do if you had a good time tonight is come back next week. Next week we have a fantastic guest. He is a former Gustavus professor, or he is a Gustavus professor, a former professor of mine, and a state legislator. Representative Terry Morrow will be our guest to talk about higher education. So it's going to be a fun show next week. And if you had a really good time, you could bring a friend, and that would be better than best. So with that, I just want to thank our cast, who have been
Logan Martin.
Brandon Moat.
Jim Robinson.
Andrea Guilford.
and Dennis Curley's on the music over here. That's the Theater of Public Policy. Please stick around. The Board of Huge Theater performs at 8 o'clock, and you guys can stay for free because you came to this show. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week.